Welcome to the explainer. Okay, let's just state the obvious. Generative AI is moving at a mind-blowing speed, right? It promises so much value, and it's touching pretty much every industry out there. But that same boom has created this super complex, kind of messy new tech landscape. So today, we're going to give you a map, a way to make sense of it all. So, are you feeling just a little bit lost in this whole Gen AI gold rush? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. It feels like every single day there's a new company, a new model, a new app, and they're all shouting that they're the next big thing. It's this huge explosion of innovation, for sure. But man, it can also be an explosion of pure confusion. But hey, don't worry, that's exactly why we're here. The whole point of this explainer is to cut right through all that noise. We're going to build a really simple, clear framework together. Think of it like a map that shows you exactly where every single piece of this new world fits, all the way from the tiny chips that power it to the apps you're using every single day. All right, let's get started. All right, so we're mapping the new world, a simple framework for a complex market. And the first thing to get your head around is this. Gen AI isn't just one thing you can buy off a shelf. Nope, it's a massive shift that ripples through the entire technology stack. So our map is going to break this new world down into some really clear, easy to understand layers. Okay, before we dive deeper, let's just do a quick level set. Make sure we're all talking about the same thing. So when we say generative AI, what do we mean? Well, think of it like this. It's technology that can create brand new, derived versions of stuff. We're talking text, images, code, even business strategies. And it does this by learning from these enormous piles of original content. The key word here is creation. It's not just analyzing data, it's making something new. So here it is. This is our map. We're organizing everything into a 4-layer tech stack. And it's really logical. Each layer builds right on top of the one below it. We're going to start at the very bottom with the foundational infrastructure, then move up to the model providers. Those are kind of the brains of the whole thing. Then we'll go through AI engineering, which is where all the magic happens to turn this stuff into a real product. And finally, we'll land on the GenAI apps that we all see and use. We're going to take a tour of this whole stack, starting from the ground up. All right, let's kick off our journey through the stack. We're starting at the bottom, from chips to clicks. Okay, layer 1, infrastructure. This layer is all about one thing: raw, brute force power. Seriously, the amount of computation you need to train and run these gigantic GenAI models, it's just on another level. It's unlike anything we've really seen before. So this layer, it's the bedrock. It provides the absolute essentials, the computing power, the storage, the networking that makes everything else even possible. And who's playing in this sandbox? Well, it's basically two main groups. First, you've got the AI chip makers. These are the folks creating the specialized hardware, the GPUs and CPUs designed specifically to handle these insane workloads. Then you've got the giant cloud providers, the hyperscalers. They're the ones who take all that powerful hardware and rent it out to the rest of us as a service. And let's be real, today, pretty much all serious GenAI development is happening up in the cloud. Okay, so we've got the power. Now, sitting right on top of that, we get to layer 2, the model providers. If the infrastructure is the muscle, this layer is the brain. This is where you find the actual foundation models, the LLMs, the image generators, all the stuff you hear about in the news. And believe me, this is where a ton of the money and the market buzz is concentrated right now. And inside this brain layer, there's this really interesting split, kind of two different ways of thinking. On one side, you have the commercial closed source models. They're proprietary, right? One company owns them, and you usually pay to use them through an API. But on the other side, you've got the open source models. These are built by a whole community of developers, and they offer a ton of flexibility and control for anyone who really wants to get their hands dirty and customize things. And you absolutely should not sleep on open source. Just look at this number, 10x. Projections are showing that by 2027, we're going to see a 10-fold increase in the number of companies using open source AI models directly. That's huge. And it tells you one thing very clearly. Businesses are hungry for more customization and more control over their AI. So you've got the power from layer 1, and you've got the brain from layer 2. What's next? Well, you need a factory. And that's layer 3, AI engineering.
This is the absolutely critical bridge that takes a raw, powerful model and actually turns it into something useful for a real-world application. This is where all the technical heavy lifting happens, the developing, the refining, the deploying.
And let me be clear, this is not simple stuff. It's worlds away from traditional software development. The whole AI engineering lifecycle is this constant loop. You're developing and training models. You're deploying them out into the wild. And then, and this is so important, you are constantly monitoring them. You're checking for accuracy, for bias, for performance drift. It's a never-ending job. And here we are at the very top of our stack. Layer 4, the GenAI apps. This is the part that probably feels the most familiar to all of us, right? This is the layer we actually touch and interact with. It's where the rubber meets the road and real business value gets delivered, whether that's a smart assistant in your email client or a super specialized tool for, say, scientific research. Now, these apps tend to fall into one of two buckets. You've got your horizontal apps. Think of these as generalists. They serve broad functions that pretty much every company needs, like marketing, HR, sales support. Then you have the vertical apps. These are the specialists. They're laser-focused and fine-tuned for one specific industry, like helping discover new drugs or speeding up legal research. All right, now we have our map of the GenAI world. So what? What does this actually mean for your business, for your strategy? Let's get into the good stuff, the incredible opportunities, and the hidden, very real dangers. Let's start with the opportunities. And they are massive. A recent survey talked to over 800 executives, and what they expect to get from GenAI is crystal clear. Number 1, a huge boost in productivity. Number 2, real cost savings. And number 3, a much better customer experience. I mean, these 3 things right here, this is why billions and billions of dollars are pouring into this space. But on the flip side, the risks are just as big. And this quote from a major industry report really nails the single biggest challenge. This tendency for AI models to, well, hallucinate, to just make stuff up, to fabricate answers. That is a massive critical hurdle for any company that wants to use this stuff seriously. And look, inaccuracy, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The full list of risks that leaders have to wrestle with is, well, it's long. You've got data privacy concerns, protecting your intellectual property, crazy unpredictable costs, the very real potential for biased or even toxic outputs, and just a general lack of transparency about how these things even work. And what that means is, you can't just trust a vendor's sales pitch. You have to have your own clear strategy for managing all of this. So, where does this all go from here? What's the next big thing? Well, the next step in AI's evolution isn't just about getting better at generating stuff. It's about adaptation. And generative AI, it's the key that's unlocking this whole new phase. We're talking about adaptive AI. And adaptive AI is, well, it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. We're talking about AI systems that are designed to learn and change after they're already out there working in the real world. They learn from new information, from new experiences, in real time. This allows them to adapt on the fly to a world that's always changing. And that is a gigantic leap forward from the static, unchanging models we mostly have today. And this is why generative AI is so incredibly important. It's not just an endpoint, it's the engine that's going to power this next wave. Why? Because GenAI can create dynamic processes, not just static things like a picture or an essay. It's making it possible for way more people to build really complex AI systems out of different parts. And it's speeding up how we develop things like advanced simulations. So, there you have it. We've gone on a journey all the way from the silicon chips in Layer 1 to the future of truly adaptive intelligence. We've built this map to help you find your way through this complex, sometimes confusing, but incredibly exciting new world. So, I guess the only question left to ask is, now that you have the map, where are you and your organization going to go first?